to Dr. Dhatarak sir and Professor Sabdota Datta sir for arranging this 1 week AICT and ISTE sponsored orientation program on a very wonderful topic, that is the green energy generation for sustainable development. It's a very huge topic and has wide variety in research field. I think this refresher program has covered all the dimension of this topic, and participants really get information about innovation, new technology related to the field of green energy generation. Maybe some participants registered for this program have aimed to get an idea about the research related to this topic. I hope all the views of participants may clear from this 1 week program, and it will be useful for them to nourish their students. This is one of the prime institution in Gondwana University, and this institution has capacity. This institution has capability to do justice to any topic. The strong dedicated team, that is the faculty members, are the asset of this institution. Having human assets, having strong team of dedicated teachers is the backbone of any institution. Because being a teacher is not an easy profession. Teacher needs the passion. One teacher cannot be teacher if not have a passion. Unless that passion with you, you cannot grow up. As we all know that the new things that are not came in last 500 years, that have came in 15 years. Research and innovation that are not being take place in 15 years, that taken place in last 5 years. And some technology that are not come in last 5 years, that came in last 5 months. That is the base of technology. It's now changing. It's now changing day by day. Industry is also adopting that changes. Now, industry expectation about human capital are changing. So, now it's a time for our institution to change. Again, we are also forget about our students. Our students also changing. Their expectation from teachers are altogether different. Not from teacher, their expectation from all education system are different. They are not interested only in content of the syllabus. Our students are not interested to create new things also. Just I want to share one point with you, that one example. One survey was conducted for IITs and NIT students, and near about 6,500 students were participating in that survey. One question asked to the student, what is the motivation of you to join IITs or NITs? The 80% of students answered to get a good job. 80% of students answered to get a good job. If the cream of the nation, that is the student of IITs and NITs, thinking like that, they are working for somebody else or getting job, then who will do the research? Who will do the innovation? And without innovation, they cannot develop the nation. I am always the fan of one faculty member of this institution who always talk about the research, who always talk about the innovation, who always inspiring the students, motivating the students to do something new. Novelty may be 1% or 0.5%, no matter, but do it. That's why before some time I told this institution has capability to do justice to any topic. Department of Electrical Engineering has chosen such a wonderful topic, green energy generation for sustainable development, to nourish the faculty members of different institutions. I am very thankful to the organizers who invited me in this program and give me an opportunity to share my findings on this dais. Now, with the prior permission of coordinators, I start my presentation. So, dear participant, I am Dr. Jyoti Fulzele, faculty member of Electrical Department, Bapurao Deshmukh College of Engineering, Sevagram. Today, I try to share my findings with you on the topic Design and Optimization of Hybrid Renewable Energy System. These are the content of the session. First session is the introductory session in which we know about the history behind this topic, that is the Indian Energy Outlook 2021, opportunities in renewable energy sectors, review of hybrid renewable energy system. Then we discuss the research tools which are available for the simulation and optimization of hybrid system, and review of rural electrification program launched by the Government of India. And in second session, we will discuss about one case study of design and optimization of hybrid energy system. So let's proceed. Today we are talk about the latest report which has been released by International Energy Agency specifically about the India. That is, it is nothing but the Indian energy scenario. Although similar report was also prepared during last year in 2020, which is not released, and input of that report also included in the Energy Outlook 2021. It's a huge report, almost of 256 pages are here, but here I am going to discuss some important point in general to know about Indian energy scenario. So let's discuss one by one. So first I talk about the news. As I told, in February 2021, International Energy Agency, that is IEA, has released the India Energy Outlook 2021 report. Remember, it's a special report released in 2021 first time, although it was prepared during last year, but due to COVID-19 pandemic, it did not release, but the data of 2020 also included here. So what does this report indicate? This report explores what are the opportunities and challenges in front of India to ensure their ever-growing population of India gets reliable, affordable and sustainable energy. This report tried to examine what would be our part, because COVID-19 pandemic has hit not just India but the entire world. So this particular report, it focuses on COVID-19 pandemic. It tells us what would be the problem because of COVID-19 pandemic, and what are the options in front of India. For example, it tries to explore or it tries to forecast Indian energy number by taking different scenarios. For instance, what are the current stated policy by government? It might be called as steps or the India vision scenario. It means what would be the vision of India according to the government related to energy. What is delay triggered mode? Because in COVID-19 pandemic, there has been slowdown and there is a delay in Indian economy. Then how it will affect the number with respect to the energy? Finally, we are also talking about sustainable development of energy scenario for India. So this is the major and specular type of discussion where they given the numbers, what would happen to the India's energy number in 2040, 2060, right? So let's try to understand about this. So before going to the main content, let's know what is meant by IEA. So this IEA is stand for International Energy Agency and it is an autonomous intergovernmental organization which is established in 1974 in Paris, France. And remember that India became a member of this IEA in March 2017. Now what does IEA do? The name itself indicates International Energy Agency, so it focuses mostly on energy, right? It tries to focus on energy policy based on 3 E's. What are those 3 E's? One should energy security. Obviously, they talk about the energy, but they do not talk about developing energy or splitting energy by population equability. They also talk about the economic development. How I can balance energy security and economic development, and how we balance energy security, economic development with environmental protection. So it is a very important organization, and as I told you, India became an associate member of this IEA. Apart from that, India has a strategic partnership agreement with IEA, and this IEA releases the World Energy Outlook report annually. Now we are talking about that report. First we look about this report. It is divided in 4 different chapters. So let's first we discuss about the key observation here. Key observation or major observations of this report. So the first thing the report observed, the India is a major force in global energy economy going into the future. The report states India energy consumption has more than doubled since 2000. So if talking about the 2010 or 2020 or 2040, energy consumption has become double, and in future also same will observe. Report observe the great progress by the Indian government. In fact, this says that in last 20 years, there is near universal household across to electricity. About 90 crore people have got an electricity connection since from 2000. India continue industrialization and urbanization will make huge demand of its energy sector and its policy maker. What the report says that? It says that India will be the 3rd largest energy consumer by 2030. As of now 2021, India is the 4th largest and at top score as that of the China, followed by United States and European Union. I told you India energy consumption is continuously increasing, and it says that it expected to near double again in 2040. But as my energy consumption is doubling, my needs are doubling. So what will be about the inputs? Because India's inputs are very, very rigid when it comes to energy. We are highly reliant on oil, coal and gas, right? So India's growing energy need will make it more reliant on fossil fuels import, because switching to renewable energy instantly is not possible. Although we are working very, very hard, we have national solar mission, wind energy promotion, but still we are more reliant on fossil fuels. Getting? Rising oil demand in India is actually double. If we talk about the number in 2020, it would be around 181 billion. And in 2040, it will close around 255 billion, which is almost triple by 2019, right? So, energy consumption is increasing and reliance on oil importing is also increasing. So, let's talk about some graphs. Through this graph, it is clearly shows that India's population has increasing. Along with population, GDP also increasing. With this, new energy demands are also increasing. Now let's talk about the COVID-19 pandemic. In this COVID-19 pandemic, we're going to leave a lasting score. Prior to global pandemic, India's energy demand was projected to increase by almost 50% between 2019 and 2030. But over this pandemic period, it is now closer to 35%. Means in this period, 15% of energy demand gone top. Now, let's talk about the India's energy number. As I told you, India's energy demand is increasing, GDP is increasing, so India's import billing also increasing, because we have huge dependency on fossil fuels. 80% of energy demand needs coal, oil and solid biomass. Solid biomass is actually going to down. Means we are all dependent on coal and oil for energy generation. And this is creating a huge problem in future. So let's look at this number from 2000 to 2020. Coal energy demand increasing, oil demand is also increasing, and traditional biomass is fallen down. As I told you, environmental protection is also one key factor of that International Energy Agency along with energy security. Because of this, coal and oil, it affects the environment. Here it shows the number of clean days in 2019. If you look at this number 50, 100 and 150, it is red zone, meaning out of 365 days in a year, only 50 days have a clean air in some areas. So in India, because of dependency on fossil fuels, our clean air is going down and down. Report indicate that nearly half of India's population lives in a region with a fewer than 200 clean air days a year. So, this is the problematic issue which is reported by Energy Outlook 2021. Apart from this, if we talk about the India's industrialization, in India, industrialization is the major driving force over the last 3 decades. India has accounted for about 10% of world growth in industrial value added. By 2040 also, India has to account 20% growth in industrial value added. This makes India's global leader in industrialization. Now, how for energy demand look? It going to increase. As I told you, oil demand is rising by 745, and in 2040, estimate numbers we will go for 8.7 million per day. Gas demand continuously increasing. India's natural gas dependency will increase from 50% and it increased to 60% in 2040. Coal demand is currently dominated India. Large electricity comes from the coal. Coal demand also rising to 770 million tons in 2040, while it reaches to 590 in 2019. Of course, the renewable energy resources are rising. We all know we are pushing towards the renewable energy. We are pushing solar energy, wind energy, etc. And demand of that also increasing. India is the second largest growing country in renewable energy sector in world after China. Now, apart from this, in split of increasing population, GDP and energy consumption, there is a huge problem in India, that is the India's per capita energy use. India's per capita energy use is dismal. There are widespread difference in energy use and the quality of services across the states and between rural and urban areas. Right? Finally, we are talking about the problem area that we have to face in future. According to report, going into the future 2040 or 2060, what are the major challenges in India's energy sector? I would say major problem to electricity sector is the Indian consumer. So first problem is the CO2 emission. It creating problem like climate change, global warming, etc. But the two most important things as consumer like me affect is the affordability of energy and reliability of energy supply. Problem here is energy, it needs to be affordable because switching from fossil fuels to new renewable energy, then I have to make it affordable. I have to make that compatible with fossil fuels so that it becomes cheaper and it will be more reliable. Because here in India, so many seasons are there, season fluctuations are there in India. Like when summer is come, demand will increases. There is load shedding, shortage of electricity. Apart from that, if we look on focus of renewable energy, then reliability is the big question. Because consistency of electricity from wind turbine will not be same as that of coal and nuclear based turbine. Isn't it? So, reliability and affordability are the two major problems going into the future for Indian consumer according to International Energy Agency report. That is from my side about the Energy Outlook 2021. Dear participant, as we know, the